Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another Pro versus DIY comparison video. This video is all about Kayak Crates. So for the Pro kit, we're going to be looking at this Kayak BlackPak. This is the 13 by 13 model that comes with 3 rod holders. Currently it's available on Amazon for $125. We're going to be comparing it to this very basic, just standard milk crate with rod holders on it. For everything to build this, it's about $30. And then we're going to go with a kind of mid-grade level. This is a Klein Tools 17 quart cooler. And we're going to be mounting 4 rod holders on the side of it, 2 on either side. We're going to break it down by cost, ease of assembly, and then what features it has. Whether it's how much storage it has, if it's wet storage, dry storage. So this is my freshwater fishing bag. This is normally what I would take with me kayak fishing when I'm on a freshwater lake or stream. It has everything in it that I would normally use while freshwater fishing. So the goal is to take everything that's in here and put it into whatever kayak crate I end up deciding is going to be my go-to kayak crate. I guess to get started, I'm going to open this up, show you guys what's in it, and show you how much gear needs to be able to fit in whatever crate it is that I'm using. On the front here, it's just got a Gerber, it's a multi-tool, and a pair of clippers for a braided line. Up here, we've got 2 little tackle trays and a couple of bobbers. In this top pouch here, another small tackle tray. These 3 small tackle trays here were in another box that I used to keep it in my glove box in case something happened, like I needed to go fishing and I didn't have time to go back to my house and grab my stuff. In the toolbox in my truck, I always had a 2-piece rod, and I would have this in the glove box. But that box broke, so I took those tackle trays and put them in my fishing bag. Anyways, moving on to this next pouch, I have some soft plastics. It's just your standard assortment of soft plastics. And then in this top tray here, or top pouch here, I have 2 3700 size waterproof planos. I've got another box that has all the rest of my fishing gear in it. I used to keep that box in my boat, but when I moved out here to Hawaii, I sold my boat, so now all that gear is just hanging out in a box in my closet. And as I lose stuff here, I will take stuff out of that box and refill these 2 boxes. But even back on the mainland, if I was kayak fishing, I would never really have more than this stuff with me. So this stuff here is what needs to be able to fit in the kayak crate. So we'll start with the simplest crate first. This is just a $10 milk crate, and then I bought one of these packs of rod tubes. The rod tubes are $20 on Amazon. It comes with 4. I only installed 2 of them on this crate. But realistically, if you really wanted to, you could fit 8 of these rod holders, 4 on this side, 4 on the other side. To mount these, I took a heat gun and kind of melted this lip right here and pushed it in to where the rod tubes sat back a little bit in the milk crate. And I had a piece of scrap plywood that I ran the hardware through, you can see right there. I've been using this crate for my saltwater fishing. As you can see, it's got a lot of stuff in it right now. It's got another Plano 3700 size waterproof box. It has the motor speed controller for my motors. It's got my Railblaza flag with light. It's got this bag right here. In here I have a couple of smaller boxes. This one's just got my weights in it. This one has my terminal tackle for when I'm using light gear. Some 14-pound line that I mostly use as leader. A few weights, and then a bag full of more terminal tackle that, as this runs out, I refill it with that. And tiny assorted hooks. And this one just has some lures and stuff that I would use for inshore and nearshore. Some sunblock, transducer, power cable, depth finder, and an anchor. Then a couple of glow sticks, so if I want to go out night fishing, crack one of these open and hang it on the top of the flag in the event that the light dies on top of my flag. Then some 30-pound line. Also, you got your safety radio and then some extra pliers and stuff that I just toss in here until I'm actually out on the water. But as you can see, this crate fits a lot of stuff in it. So I'm going to go ahead and see if all of my freshwater and bass fishing gear fits in this crate comfortably. These are 3700 size boxes, like I said before. They're nearly 14 inches wide and about 9 inches. And then these ones are the shallow ones, so they're only about 2 inches tall. But with a standard size milk crate, if all you had was the 3700 size boxes and you didn't bring any other gear with you, you can easily fit 4 boxes in here, probably 5. But I also bring these 2 smaller kits with me, so we'll toss those in there. Then my soft plastics. So it fits everything from my bag with plenty of room to spare. I mean, hell, if I wanted to, I could toss the anchor in there. If I wanted to take the anchor freshwater fishing with me. When I'm done on the water, I took everything off my kayak, it all fits in the crate, and then I could just toss it in the back of my car. The size and price are definitely some pretty good factors on the cheapest, simplest DIY, but it has some pretty major drawbacks that I'm sure you can see right off the bat. It does not offer any kind of dry storage at all. I'm sure you can see here there's no lid, there's tons of holes, smaller things can slip out of the holes. These bobbers are not safe. See, that one's already trying to roll away. And as far as like tool storage, you could keep adding on to this. There's more stuff you could do. You could build a lid for this. You can add a molly pouch to the side of it so it has those little loops, and then slip your pliers and stuff through there. This is a bait knife. I don't typically bring that freshwater fishing. Yeah, so you could keep adding to this, but the more you add to it, the more expensive it gets. But I mean, it is the cheapest option. It's the simplest option. You just grab it and toss it in your kayak. You're ready to go. Most fishing kayaks will have a storage well behind the seat that is big enough for one of these crates. Every one that I have and every fishing kayak that I have had can fit at least this crate. But if you flip over, there's no lid on this. You lose a bunch of gear. And like I said, some of your gear can fall through these holes. And if it starts raining or if you start taking on water, your stuff will get wet. There's holes on all 4 sides of this and on the bottom. So it does not keep anything dry. Okay, so moving on to the slightly more expensive DIY, we have this Klein Tools 17-quart cooler and some rod tubes. Before we get into showing you how I'm going to turn this into a kayak crate, I'm going to show you some of the cool features about this cooler that personally I like and why I think it would make a good kayak crate. For starters, it is waterproof and insulated, so it'll keep your drinks cold and it'll keep everything dry. I'm using it as a kayak crate, so keeping drinks cool isn't really a huge priority. However, if you wanted to use it as a cooler while you're not using it as a kayak crate, that's still an option. On the outside, it has a hard plastic design. It is very rigid, very strong, and according to the tag, it supports up to 300 pounds. So most of us that are out kayaking would be able to use this as a seat if we were bank fishing. And it has a carrying strap. It's pretty light. I think the whole cooler weighs less than 5 pounds, or right at 5 pounds. You're not adding a bunch of weight to your kayak by using this as the crate. And it has this right here, so you can just put a clip through here, like one of those D-ring clip, if you want to make sure the lid doesn't open while you're out on the water, or you can actually put a lock on it to lock your stuff up. Moving on to the inside, when you open this, the lid locks into place in the 90-degree or 180-degree positions. And still looking at the lid, it has this little box right here so you can put your keys or your wallet in there to keep it dry. and keep it secure so you don't have to worry about losing it. It is a thick wall cooler, which provides great insulation for keeping your drinks cold. But I didn't consider before ordering this cooler that having the thicker walls does mean there will be less internal space. You can see here at the top, it is right at 12 inches wide on top, and because it tapers inward, it's about 11.5 inches wide at the bottom, and from front to back on the top, it comes in right at 9 inches, and again about 8.5 inches at the bottom. And from top to bottom, taking into account how deep the lid sits inside the cooler, or you're looking at right at 8.5 inches deep. That is plenty of storage, but where the problem is as you saw, I already have 3 of the 3700 size boxes. And as I showed on the last crate, these boxes are wider than 12 inches. So it won't fit in there. It fits in there this direction, but it's too tall to close the lid. So if you wanted to have this as an open crate with a lid right here for you to set things on it, you can do that, and you could have the 2 3700 size boxes, but the lid's not going to close. After I realized how much space we're losing on the inside of this box, I looked it up, and you can fit, if you stack them front like this, you can fit 4 3600 size boxes. Like I said, these trays are 3700 size. If all of my gear fits in 2 3700 size boxes, having 4 3600 size boxes will give me more than enough space for what I'm doing. And it'll probably even give me enough space to get rid of these little boxes and condense all 3 of these into one box. But if I wanted to keep the same amount of space that I have now, then these 3500 size boxes, front to back, you can fit 6 of them in there, and then still, if you wanted to stack them and fit more, you could probably fit 2 more going this way, and they're too tall to put upright. If you really wanted to, you could easily fit 8 of these 3500 size boxes, and again, that's more space than I would need, but that's just me personally. Some people do like to take more gear with them. And if you're one of the people who takes more gear with you, this box is not the right option. I'm just going to be upfront with you on that. And this is a bit more expensive than the open air crate. The box itself is $65, and then again, the rod tubes are $20. So you're looking at $85 to build this box. Alternatively, there is one available for, I think, $110. I'll put a link in the description down below. That one has almost the same interior dimensions as a regular milk crate, so you can fit 4 of the 3700 size boxes in it, and it already has 4 rod holders built in, 2 on either side. But that does take up a bit more space. Just the external dimensions of it are a bit bigger, so if you're interested in checking out that box, I would suggest you measure how much room you actually have in your kayak before buying it. But anyways, I'm going to put the rest of my gear in here, all the soft plastics and those other 3 boxes, and see how much space it takes up. Just to make sure that I would actually have enough room for all of my gear, I ended up borrowing a couple of the boxes out of my saltwater bag. So I have 2 of these little boxes, 3 boxes that are about this size, and 3 3500 size boxes, plus all of my soft plastics. And up here in the dry box, I also have my wallet and my keys, which is a huge bonus for me. I love having a place where my wallet and keys are secure and easy to get to. I've fallen out of kayaks more than enough times to know that having a secure place to keep your keys and wallet dry is a huge benefit when you're out on the water. Alright, so now that we talked about what I like about this cooler for Kayak Crate, it's time to install the rod holders. And to do that, you're going to need a pack of rod holders. Again, this one was $20 on Amazon. It comes with 4 of these comes with 4 of these rod tubes, and it comes with the mounting hardware you would need to mount these. However, these bolts are kind of long and they will go all the way through the cooler. And because I still want to be able to use it as a cooler, I'm going to try to use these molly bolts. These ones are a shallow anchor. As you tighten down the screw head, it compresses this shaft, which causes these 4 pieces right here to expand outward, kind of like how a drywall anchor works. So I'm going to try to use these to mount the rod holders without actually drilling all the way through the crate. These screw heads are big enough that they won't actually go through the hole. They won't go through the hole in the rod holder. So as far as being able to hold the rod holder, they will work. I'm hoping that the wall is thick enough that it won't actually penetrate all the way through, so that I won't actually lose any waterproofing inside the box. In addition to the MOLLE bolts, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, the right size drill bit for the bolts that you're using, and some way of marking the spot where you're going to drill a hole. For that, I'm just using this smaller drill bit, and I'm going to line up the rod holder, put this through, give it a couple of turns, and then I'm not sure if you can see that, but right there is a mark. So then take your drill, and for this part you got to be really careful not to drill past this first layer. There is insulation behind it, but don't worry about that as long as you don't go through. As long as you don't go through to the inner layer of the cooler, you should be fine. And I didn't go through on either of those bolts. So then shove this in. You're going to want to shove it in deep enough to where these little hooks right here catch like they press into the plastic. And that is what prevents the body from turning while you are turning the screw. So the walls of this cooler are just deep enough that these 5/32 by 1 1/16 inch MOLLE bolts don't penetrate all the way through. So then you just turn the screw, and as you're turning, like I said, these little tabs will start to expand outward, and when it gets, or you will feel the tension when they collapse all the way, and then you just back the screw up. It leaves behind the body of the MOLLE bolt, which has the threads in it. So then, after you've got both of the bolts installed, it's going to come in and install the rod holder. One quick note I have about using these MOLLE bolts is that I have tried using these with an electric screwdriver before, and it doesn't happen every time, but occasionally the electric screwdriver will cause the housing to just twist and bind up rather than expanding like it's supposed to. So I know it's not the most convenient in the world, but just using a manual screwdriver like this, in my opinion, is the best way to do this. So after you got the first one done, you're just going to go through and install the next 3, and I will show you what that looks like when it's done. Here you can see what it looks like when it's finished. I ended up tilting these 2 back rod holders back just a little bit so the rods aren't sticking straight up in the air. The front 2 are sticking straight up. But as you can see on the inside, there are no holes, so it is still completely waterproof inside, or at least water resistant. There's no actual seal or anything around the top of it. But it'll keep rain out, it'll keep splashes out, and it'll keep all your gear dry. Honestly, looking at it, it doesn't look like it's a DIY job at all. That is just my opinion, and I could be biased because I'm the one that did it, but it was super easy. It took maybe 20 minutes to do all 4 rod holders, and they are sturdy. Could pick up cooler from any of them. Other than having to buy new tackle trays that will fit in here, I personally think that this is a great way to do it if you're trying to get a little bit nicer kayak crate than just the regular milk crate, but you're not trying to spend $125 on the cheapest version of the BlackPak. Between the 4 rod holders, the cooler, and the molly bolts that I used, this whole thing comes in at less than $90. And it is so far the most versatile that I've seen. And just like with the milk crate, you can mount like a molly pouch right here, something that has like the loops in it, so you can insert your tools and hold them, or you can just use it like it is and have all your stuff dry and also have some cold drinks while you're out on the water. So next up is the BlackPak Pro Kayak Fishing Crate. I have never actually seen one of these in person or put one together, so we're going to get this opened up and see how difficult it is to put together. So when you open it up, there is another box inside. So you got the 3 holders. Hey, you have to have kayak. Instructions up there. And you got the 4 walls at the end of the base. Okay, so now it's all laid out. Go through it again. You got your Yak Attack decal, your 3 rod holders, 4 walls, the base, the lid, instructions, and all the hardware you need to put it together. So I'm going to get this opened up and start putting it together. And just like that, the Yak Attack BlackPak is assembled. Open it up. It's just a crate. That whole process took me over an hour to do. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, there's these Omni clips that it comes with. You just tie your bungee that comes on your kayak through there, and then they clip onto the side handles, or they clip onto the corners if you want them to be secured from all 4 sides. But yeah, that's it. That is everything. As far as crates go, I mean, it's a box. It is what it is. It's got nice handles for you to carry everything, so it's convenient. It has 3 rod holders. They look nice. The kit looks good. It looks professional. But it did take over an hour to assemble. And as far as storage goes, it has tons of storage in it. I mean, it is the same size as the other crate that I showed you, but it doesn't have holes. Like, all these holes that you see down here are sealed. They don't go all the way through. It has tons of room inside. Interesting. So this one is actually not the same size as the regular milk crate. I think that one might be a 13 by 16 inch milk crate. So for $125 for the cheapest version of the BlackPak, you cannot fit a 3700 size case unless you put it in horizontal. And even then, you can fit 2 of them, but that completely destroys your storage. So for $125, I would still need to replace both of my 3700 size kits in order for them to fit in here neatly. But it looks good. It says made in the USA right there on the top. It's sturdy. You cannot sit on this. I mean, you might be able to sit on this, but personally I wouldn't try it. It does feel a little bit squishy. Like, you can see how much it moves just by pressing on it. The rod leashes are nice, and I like that it has all of these tie downs built in. Each of these holes is set up to where you can add more attachments to it. You can order the rod tubes from Yak Attack, It is a sturdy, good-looking crate. I personally wouldn't buy it again. If you are set on the BlackPak and you already have the 3700 size tackle trays, which from what I've seen kind of seems to be the standard size, you're going to want to get the bigger one. They have one that's 13 by 16, and that would at a minimum be the size you need for the 3700 size tackle trays. But that one does come with 4 rod holders instead of just 3. The lid of this isn't actually waterproof. There's no real seal around it, but you can see the tapered edge here. Water, like when it starts raining, the water will roll off the side. It won't actually go back up inside the box. So it's rain and splash resistant. These sides aren't sealed. There was no gasket or anything in there. So if you submerge it, eventually water will start to get in. But it is a lot more protection than just a regular milk crate. And I do like that the lid latches shut. So if you do flip over your kayak, everything will be secure. You don't have to worry about your stuff falling out of your crate. But yeah, that is the Yak Attack BlackPak 13 by 13 cube. Alright, so now that we've seen all 3 of these, let's talk about this for a minute. Starting from the very bottom, this one is super cheap, it's super simple. The whole assembly of it takes maybe 10 minutes. You're out the door for $30 and you have a box to keep all of your kayak gear together. Like you can see, I have a lot of my saltwater gear that I take out on my kayaks, and it's all contained in this crate. But there are a bunch of drawbacks to it, mostly being if you flip your kayak, you're losing your stuff. You could try to arrange your bungee cords to where it'll catch some of your stuff, but let's be real, you're going to lose some stuff if you flip your kayak with this crate, and it is not even slightly water resistant. You are going to get wet. Your stuff is going to get wet. But of the 3, it is the biggest, has the largest storage capacity, and it is the cheapest. It is just a quick and dirty solution to getting all of your stuff out on the water and having convenient storage in your kayak. But it is ugly. Moving on to the Yak Attack BlackPak. I'm honestly not impressed with this for the money. For $125, I would have expected it to be a little bit more. It looks professional, it looks good. Everything in here was engineered and designed to be a good solid product. The rod holders match the pack, they have the tethers, they're clean, good handles, keeps your stuff dry, and it comes with a Yak Attack sticker. But again, this is $125 and it doesn't even fit the standard size 3700 tackle tray. If you're already running the 3700 size trays and you want to get a kayak crate, if you go with BlackPak, you're going to have to spend, I think it was $150 for the next size up, which will hold the 3700 crates. But I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It's made in the USA. It looks good. This is the professional crate in today's DIY versus pro build-off. But personally, I just think that for the price, it should have been better. It is the second biggest one we have in today's lineup, but it is also by far the most expensive. This one coming at $30. This one was $125. That's $95 more for less storage, but it looks cleaner and keeps your stuff dry. It does have all of these screw holes in it to where you can mount more accessories, but Yak Attack is going to charge you more to get those accessories. You could DIY the accessories, but then that's not really the pro level anymore, is it? So moving on to what I personally think is the best one of the day. I think this one is the best, but also I built it, so take that with a grain of salt. But some reasons I think it's the best is this was only $85. If you look at it, like these rod holders look professional, like they look like they're intended to be here. It looks good, it looks clean. It has a strap on it. I just have the strap up under the bottom right now, but it has a strap on it so you can sling it over your shoulder and carry it down to your kayak easier. It is equally as rain and splash resistant as the Yak Attack, or as the BlackPak, but this is sturdy. They advertise that you can sit 300 pounds on the top of this and it won't break. So not only is it a good kayak crate, it is also a chair if you need one. On the inside, much like the Yak Attack, the lid locks into place so it stays open, but it also gives you the option to open it to 180 degrees, and it has a storage compartment in the lid. That way you can keep your phone and wallet dry and secure. When I installed the rod holders, they didn't actually go all the way through, so it is still completely sealed inside. This is a functioning cooler. So if you want to fill it with bait to keep some cold cut bait, some shrimp, whatever, it'll work. If you want to turn this into a live well, it will work as a live well. Just put a hole through here, run your aerator tube down in there. This will work for pretty much whatever you want it to work for. And all the measurements check out. You can fit 4 of the 3600 size tackle trays in here, or 8 or more of the 3500 size, but for my purposes, this will hold all of the gear that I need it to hold and keep it secure and dry, and you could put a lock on it. I was going to include in this video how to put together the BlackPak, but it took me over an hour. This one, 10 minutes. This one, 20 minutes. This guy here came completely disassembled in a box. Took me over an hour to put it together. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for this video. I will leave some links in the description down below to other kayak crates so you could get a look at what's available. I'll also leave a link to the BlackPak and to that cooler and the rod tubes that I used. The rod tubes on that cooler are the same ones that are on here. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.